2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Purlwise podcast, knitting all day. Let's look at it together. Purlwise podcast, stitch by stitch, we can make whatever. Stitch by stitch, it's made by your friend Claire.
Okay, hi. Welcome. My name's Claire. This is Purlwise, the place where I talk about things that I'm making on YouTube. And if you're new here, welcome. I feel like sometimes these like roundup videos bring some new people, which is lovely. But maybe it won't. I don't know. But yeah, if you are new here, I'm Claire. I live in Montreal, and I love to make my own clothes, and I have been doing so for a long time. And yeah, I think we'll just get right into it because the sun is coming for me. And I want this to be nice to look at, hopefully. Yeah, I have this big stack of knits here that I'm excited to tell you about. It's not huge, but it's not small either. And, you know, I'm like very okay with not making too much stuff because I'm rapidly running out of space, especially for sweaters. Something needs to change sweater-wise, but okay, let's just start. I did not keep good notes this year. I don't know in what order I made anything, and a bunch of these things I will say I have not talked about on the channel before because I didn't really make that many videos this year, and that's fine. I started this channel when my life looked very different than it does now, so I do my best, and I'm always happy to show up when I'm able to. So yeah, let's just start with socks. So I knit 3 pairs of socks this year, and they've all been worn in the last little while and not washed, so sorry. I think the first ones I finished were, these are some DRK Everyday socks, patterned by Andrea Mowry, and the yarn is a Wellington Fibers sock blend that my friend Kay gifted me, and they're really lovely. I have made another pair of DRK Everyday socks in a similar yarn to this. I believe it was spun at Wellington Fibers, dyed by somebody else. And I love those socks, and they're so comfortable, but I did wear through them. It's hard to know if I wore through them fast because when I have a pair of socks that I like, I tend to wear them a lot. So it's like, what is fast? You know, if I was a different kind of person, maybe I'd track the wears, but I'm not. So yeah, I've been really liking wearing these. I wore them skating the other day, and that was great. You can see this is a no nylon, non superwash sock blend. So there's like, I'm surprised they haven't felted more, honestly. Anyways, I'm just showing you dirty socks. I know I'm not alone in that, but I wore these to a party the other night and like kept standing in slushy puddles by the door. It's a very like Canadian winter party problem, but yeah, not much to say about those. Love this sock pattern. I just like have made, I guess I've only made 3 pairs, but I just feel a bit over it, need a break, but yeah, first pair of socks. So much for speeding through things. The second pair of socks I made were these quilty cabin socks. Oh, and I forgot to write down the designer, so I'll just put the name here. And yeah, these were fun. I think someone else had done like a quilty cabin sock make along earlier in the year, and so they were kind of just on my mind. And I had this sock yarn, which is the John Arbin Exmoor sock in, I believe the colorways are called Bellwether and like Bibblebug. I'll put that here too. So much for me to do later, but I really like this sock yarn. It is, I mean, I think my ideal sock yarn would be a non-superwash with nylon. And this yarn is superwash, but it doesn't feel it. Like, it feels much more like toothy and rustic than a superwash yarn. And you can see, like, maybe you can't, but it is like felting a little bit. So I'm interested. I don't know. It's just interesting. That a superwash yarn would felt that way. Maybe it's less that it's felting than it has a lot of like halo or something that's getting matted up. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, you can see on this one maybe better right here. I really like these socks. I just wanted some colorwork socks. And I believe, like, when I make a vanilla sock, I do a 72 stitch sock. For a ribbed sock, I will do less. I believe these are 68 stitch. Yeah, and they're like, I don't know, with this yarn, it's like, they're pretty cozy and they're not like tight, but these are definitely a 72 stitch sock. And then for the color work, I went up needle sizes to make sure, because I have knit colorwork socks in the past and couldn't get my foot in. So I did the same thing I'd done. I made these like blooming lavender stone knit socks years ago, and I believe, like, I generally knit my socks on a 1.75 millimeter because I'm quite a loose knitter. And so I think that I must have gone up to a 2.25, like a full half a millimeter difference for this. And I really don't mind, like, you can see the difference in gauge, but I simply do not care. And it means I can get them on and off my feet. And yeah, my only complaint with these socks is I feel like they could be taller. And yeah, if I were to do them again, I think I'd add some length here, just because they're like not quite tall enough for my boots. So yeah, that's the Quilty Cabin socks. And I think they're very cute, and I like that I did them opposites. And yeah, if anybody knows somewhere in Canada that carries this John Arbin Exmoor sock, let me know, because I think I bought this from the Knitting Loft and I don't think they're carrying it anymore. And I really like it, so yeah. And I believe I bought like 50 grams of each. I think they come in 50-gram skeins. So my final pair of socks is these, which I had shown. I don't remember how complete they were the last time I showed them to you, but these are some hand-spun socks, which I knitted using Albina McLaughlin's integrated heel pattern. But I did the toe-up version because I wanted to maximize my yarn. And so this fiber I had bought from Alaire Artifacts, who is a Quebec-based dyer, like probably my favorite just in terms of accessibility and like fun colors. So I bought 100 grams of this and I spun it up into my first 3-ply yarn because I wanted it to be nice and sturdy for socks. And I mean, it certainly feels sturdy and it seems to be wearing well. I have worn these a lot. And I don't see any weak patches. So this is a superwash nylon blend. And this was so fun, and I'd really love to to get some more of a sock blend to spin up. So yeah, I was aiming for a fingering weight 3-ply, but it ended up, I would say, more like a very dense sport. And that's totally fine. I just sort of played with the gauge of the pattern until I got a circumference I liked, and I believe this was a 48 stitch circumference on like 2.25 millimeter needle for me. Not that it matters, like everyone's gauge is so different. So yeah, just did like a regular wedge toe, and then I really wanted these to be tall enough for my boots, and I had split my yarn into 2 balls, and then once I had plied it up, I had some singles left over, which I had chain plied for the first time. So this is the first time I ever chain plied. So the main bulk of the yarn was spun. I don't think I did, like, I didn't even try and do a fractal or anything. I just like broke the fiber up as I wanted to, and then just spun them kind of crazy. And they did come out kind of stripey, which is cool. I don't know. It's so fun. But yeah, that little leftovers that I chain plied, this was my first sock, so I wanted to extend it. So I used half of that little chain plied ball, and did like, I don't know, 10 rows or something. And then I knew I wanted this little rolled cuff on the top. So I used actually the yarn I was just talking about, which is the sock yarn from Small Bird Workshop. That was like a Wellington Fibers blend, and just did, again, probably like 10 rows and let it roll. And then when I got to this one, I guess there was just like more in this ball, and I just added a little bit of the chain plied yarn at the top to kind of match this one, and the same rolled cuff. Yeah, not really science to it or anything, just fun socks. And yeah, I would say they're pretty rough. I was really trying to spin this tightly, and it's like resulted in a pretty like crunchy yarn, which I think is good for socks. But sometimes I do think about putting them on and I'm like, maybe I'll go for a softer sock. But no, I've worn them a bunch, gone for walks in them. Yeah, so I'll let you know with time how they hold up. But yeah, another question for you is if you know any Canadian dyers who have sock blends, let me know, because I would love to buy more and spin for more socks, because it's just a nice little like discreet project to do, that doesn't feel overwhelming, and it's fun to do something so colorful. So next project is also a handspun project, and it was probably my first knit of the year. This handspun Harlow hat with fiber, also from Alaire Artifacts. I'll put it on for you despite my hair. And what can I say? Oh, I don't remember what kind of fiber this was, but it's pretty soft. I spun it kind of woolen style, and it resulted in like a nice, like kind of very matte looking fluffy yarn that is very soft. Again, this was just like a fun spin. I didn't like worry too much about technique or anything. I just tried to make a nice yarn. And what else can I say about this? I used the Harlow hat pattern, again by Andrea Mowry, and I believe I made, oh, I know because I just looked this up. I made the smallest size on a 3mm needle, which is the same as my previous handspun Harlow hat. Because this yarn is maybe about a sport, so that seemed to work out. for me. So yeah, I mean, I figured those numbers out by just trial and error, starting and stopping. So yeah, that's my handspun Harlow. And I've been wearing this a lot. I think my 2 handspun Harlows are my most worn hats. And yeah, again, we did this as a make along, a spin to knit along with Madison of the Soulcraft podcast and Mackenzie of M to the Third. And it was really fun, and people made a lot of lovely hats. So yeah, I'm potentially working on another one right now. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking at the yarn. And my last accessory is this shawl, little shawlette, called the Lurgan shawl. And it's patterned by a designer named Brenda Bayfield. And it's knit in this Koigu yarn. It's the Corriedale and Gotland DK, which I bought with my friends Kay and Rudy when we went to Knit City, Montreal this past May. And we all got a ball of this, or a skein. And we decided to knit matching scarves, or little, scarflets. And we looked at so many patterns and finally picked this Lurgan pattern. And I'd never heard of this designer before. She's Canadian, which is nice. And I really like the stitch pattern, and it was really fun to knit. And to be honest, I haven't worn it because I don't know how. I just don't know how. I was trying the other day to do this, which I think of as a Mackenzie. I know Mackenzie probably didn't invent this, but to me it's the Mackenzie trick. But it's not like the right shape, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I just need to experiment, and maybe I kind of finished this at the beginning of winter, and now it's scarf time. It's not little scarflet time here in Montreal. So maybe once it's spring, I don't know. We'll see. I would like to figure out a way to wear this because it's so cute. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I tried to, it definitely did block out after I knit it. So I'm more able to do like this, but it still feels like a bit small for this. I mean, I think this is probably the best way, but I feel a bit choked. So yeah, I really liked knitting this. I really liked the yarn. Just not sure how to wear it, but it looks like I'm in a neck brace. Just neck brace color from afar. So yeah, so cute. What do? But yeah, that's the Lurgan shawl, and it would be lovely to make a bigger version of this also. And the pattern is pretty comprehensive. It comes with several different shaping options. There's a deeper triangle, which honestly maybe I should have done the deeper one as opposed to this long skinny one. I think that might have been a more I don't know, whatever. There's a deeper one. There's I believe she gives instructions for more a flat bottom shawlette. And yeah, I like the garter. The garter ends. So that's the Lurgan. And yeah, it's just really pretty yarn. I would love to get, I was looking at the Koigu website recently, thinking about getting some more, but it is a pretty pricey yarn. I don't know if you can see, there's I think it's the Gotland in here. There's some sort of black guard hairs that are really nice, just blended in. Or not guard hairs, but black hairs. Yeah, such nice yarn. So yeah, would love to knit more with Koigu someday. Okay, so now we get to sweaters, and maybe I'll try and do these in order. I know I haven't shown this on the podcast before, but this is the Yanni sweater by Orlansuk. So I knew I wanted to knit a black sweater, or I've been meaning to for many years, and I've saw a few people knit. My friend Rudy knit this, the Yanni, and then also Jessica Faith Cooper, who has a lovely podcast, also knit the Yanni, and I was feeling very inspired. So I believe I started this on the holidays in 2024. And I got some Briggs & Little Heritage in black, and yeah, I like this yarn. It's very comfortable. For me, it's definitely like on the more rustic side, for lack of a better word. But I don't, like, you can probably see, it doesn't wear super well, but I haven't tried to depill this. So I do think that would maybe help a bit, but like, yeah, it just gets fuzzy, but I don't really care. And because of the fuzziness, it just like picks up a lot of stuff. So something to be aware of. Because I've knit in Briggs & Little before. It's just like covered in my hair. I've knit in Briggs & Little before, but not in the black. And like the black is like really showing everything. So the only thing I changed about this sweater, which maybe I should tilt it down. Yeah, that's a bit better. The only thing I changed, like I even think I knit the length to pattern. I just changed the sleeve, the rate of decrease on the sleeve, because she kind of has you decrease like halfway and then knit straight, and I didn't like the shape of that, so I just figured out how long I wanted my sleeves to be and redistributed the decreases so that it would be like evenly decreased, make this like triangle sleeve. So I was really happy with that change. I think I had to kind of do it twice because the first time I didn't get the rate quite right, but it's okay. It was a quick knit. So yeah, I like the shape of this sweater a lot. It has this like saddle on the shoulder, and I think it looks really nice. I get compliments on it. It's kind of like sweatshirt feel, but it is like very low yoke, which is not always practical for like undercoats and stuff, but yeah, that's okay. And it is also quite warm, so like it's good now. In like, well, I probably wore it in December, but January, February, I feel like is the time for this sweater. So I've been trying to keep it out and close by so I remember to wear it. But it's definitely a sweater I'm thinking about making again, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's the Yanni. I do like the length a lot. It's kind of like the length I'm aiming for more these days. So there you go. First sweater. I don't know if it was the first one I finished, but who cares? So the next sweater I have to show you, which I've talked about extensively. You never saw the Yanni, but you saw a lot of this. So if you're really interested in learning more about it, there's one of my videos from earlier in 2025. Like this is the thumbnail, so you should be able to find it. But I go into all my modifications, all my mistakes. Yeah, so if you want more info, go there. But this is the Schulta sweater by Albina McLaughlin. So it's knit in yarn I picked up at Rhinebeck in 2024. The main color is from Beaulieu's Orchards. It is their Rommeldale / CVM like DK weight. And the contrast colors are all Green Mountain Spinnery Music DK. And I picked this up on the first day, on Saturday at Rhinebeck, and then was like doing a bit more research because this was on my list of things I wanted to potentially buy for at the festival. And I was looking into this yarn that I had purchased and saw that it was spun at Green Mountain Spinnery, and then noticed that Green Mountain Spinnery had this palette of colors in music, so it was perfect. One thing is that this cuff is tighter than the other cuff, and that really bothered me at first, but as with so many like errors in knitting, like once you're wearing it and it's like a garment that's like alive and in your wardrobe, we don't notice these things as much, so I'm not bothered. I do roll up the sleeves quite a bit. Yeah, I love this sweater. Recently I was at work. I have been working part-time at a fabric store. I'm kind of like on my way out, but I was helping these ladies at the fabric store, and as they were leaving they said, "Is that hand knit?" And I was like, "Yes, it is." And they were like, "Show us the inside. You have to show us your floats." So I was standing by the door being like, "Look, look at my floats." And they were all like, "Wow, really good." So that was nice. Yeah, I feel like I don't wear it a ton because it's like, I don't know, it's got that thing where it's like just very distinctive. But I should wear it more. I really like it. And I finished this last spring, I feel like. And so it was kind of like not the weather for it anymore. But maybe I'll wear it to work tomorrow again, because I love it. Yeah. So yeah, if you want any more info, go see that video with this as the thumbnail. Okay, next one. Okay, so these next two are both sweaters that I had started like a long time ago. Or at least like more than a year before. Maybe I started this in 2024. I remember starting it around my birthday. And then finished last year. So, yeah, these two fingering weight sweaters. So this is the Azor, also by Orland Souk. And I love, love, love this sweater. It's knit in Viola yarns. West Country 4-ply, but Viola is no longer dyeing. And I had bought this for myself as a birthday present, maybe in 2023, I think. And I'm so glad I did, because it's nice to have gotten some Viola yarn before she closed. And the contrast color is Whistleberry Cheviot Marsh, which I had bought in a kit for a knit along a long time ago and never used. So yeah, that's the combo. There's definitely a video with more info about this sweater also. I think in the thumbnail I'm probably wearing it, if that's helpful. Yeah, it's got this fold from being folded, but I really like this sweater, really happy with the fit. Maybe it could be a tummy. I don't know. For this weight of sweater, I feel like this is a good length. And I wear it a lot. I'm definitely noticing I'm not reaching for it as much in like the deep winter. So maybe it's more of a fall, spring thing for me, which makes sense because it's fingering weight. But I really like this gauge and this fit. I just feel like it's like roomy, but not too roomy, and yeah. Ta-da! So, having made this sweater, I had this other sweater, which is, and I really tried to go back and find, I'm sure I've talked about this, starting this in another video, but I don't even know what year it was. Like, it was a long time ago. So I don't remember when I started this, but this is the Wool and Honey by Andrea Mowry. And I tried with this sweater to replicate the proportions of this sweater. And so I will try it on and show you. This is the Wool and Honey. And I really tried to get that like same feeling as the Azor, and it just didn't quite land. And I haven't worn it. I finished this in the fall, and I just like don't feel that comfortable in it. I don't know. Like maybe it's smaller than I would have actually wanted it to be. It definitely like is shorter than I don't know. It's really not that bad. I just feel like it wasn't quite what I wanted, and it doesn't feel as comfortable. But looking at it now, it's like it is very pretty. I definitely think the sleeves could be longer. It's hard to know with garter how much things are going to grow. And I definitely was like ready to be done with this. Like I just had it on the needles for so long that I just wanted to be done. So I think the length is okay, but there's something about it that I'm like, ugh. It's like not big enough maybe. Yeah, I guess I wish it was bigger. I could see it maybe being better with a skirt. Like proportionally. I only made some modifications to this sweater, which I'm sure I would have talked about in that video years ago when I first started it, but I knit it flat. So if you can see, I don't know how obvious it is, but I basically just like added a stitch on either side of the, I don't know, I added 2 stitches and didn't close up the back so that I had like a little selvage so I could close it up eventually. And I just mattress stitched it closed. And I did the same thing with the sleeves. I knit them, I like picked up for the sleeves, but I didn't close the loop. I knit them back and forth. And yeah, it's knit in the called for yarn, Brooklyn Tweed Loft, in the color Caraway, which I really love. But I had to knit it on such small needles that I would say the knitting experience was not that enjoyable. So to hit gauge, I was on like 2.5 millimeter needles to like knit this whole sweater or something like that. And yeah, so that's why it took me so long to finish it, but I'm glad it's done. The other mod I know that I made is I omitted the short rows at the back. So in the original pattern, there's like a sort of blank section of garter stitch between the chart and the ribbing. And I just went straight into the chart and was like, I'll figure that out later. So I did a few short rows in the rib instead. And I think it's fine. Could have maybe done a couple more, but it's okay. Yeah, so I went straight into the chart and I picked up the rib later and did that, which is my preferred way to do rib because I feel like the structure is better. And also it means like you can make decisions once you know how the rest of the sweater is fitting. So yeah, that's the wool and honey. I definitely made also modifications to the, like, after splitting for sleeves, I was just not following the pattern at all, I should say. So I tried to, I was like measuring the Azor and comparing it to this, and I added, like, I cast on a lot more stitches in the underarm, I think, than was called for. And, like, I didn't write it down anywhere. So that's one thing about this pattern. It has very narrow sleeves. So I'm glad I made that change. But I think they could have been even wider. Like, anyways, maybe I just should have made a bigger size. I don't know. Maybe I was a different size when I started it. And my last thought about this, I believe, and I'm sorry that I'm not, like, able to give more information. I just, like, made it over so many years, and I, like, ripped back and restarted so many times, especially in the, like, this, like, redistributing for body and sleeves situation. The last thing is, like, I do feel a bit, like, worried about this sweater and how it's going to hold up. And I do feel like it's a weird kind of pairing. I mean, it looks lovely in this yarn, but this yarn is not, it's like a woolen spun yarn. It's, like, very fragile, and, like, it's so easy to rip it. And then you have, like, these, like, loose bits, and I'm just pretty sure, especially on the back or something, like, I'm sure it's going to get caught on something. And even because I was working on it for so long, like, I could see it getting, like, abraded and, like, getting a bit fuzzy and, like, losing some of its integrity. And so I was working on this with, like, I can't get it, but, like, a big loose bag that I would, like, zip the body up into and then just have, like, the sleeve poking out. So that it wasn't, like, rubbing on stuff. And I think I started working on it, like, turned inside out as well. Just because I felt like it was, like, on my lap and I was moving it around and it was just, like, rubbing on my clothes and stuff. So yeah, I'm a bit worried that, like, some of these, like, loose floats will catch on things. So just something to consider also with this pattern. Yeah, I know people have a lot of issues with this pattern, and I was able to modify it fairly easily. I don't know, it took years. But yeah, I wish my sleeves were longer. But at the same time, it's kind of like a nice bracelet length. I don't know, I should try and wear it and see how I feel and try and style it. I think I just feel, like, constricted, and maybe that's, like, I should just wear a tank top or something underneath instead of a t-shirt. I don't know, but yeah, we can't love everything, and I'm honestly just glad it's done and is not, like, in my pile of whips anymore. So speaking of re-knitting, I will show you a tee that I made. Okay, next thing I wanted to show you was this dappled lace raglan that I made this summer. It's my second dappled lace raglan, and this is knit in Knitting for Olive pure silk, held single in the lemon curd colorway, which was super popular this summer. And I kept being like, oh, I don't need it, I don't need it, I don't need it. And then I, like, had a dream about this sweater, this shirt, and I woke up and I was lying in bed and I was like, okay. I ordered it, and yeah, it kept me really busy in that I knit this twice. So I had made the dappled lace previously in Pearl Soho's Santolina, which is a much thicker yarn. It's like, I would say it's a heavy fingering, and this is, like, a very light fingering. So I just very cavalierly cast on with the same needle size I had used for my other version, and knit this top. and it was not too small. Like, it fit me, but not in the way that I wanted it to. Like, it didn't fit like the other one. And you can see, like, I have a good amount of ease. I just like how it hangs away from my body and is like loose around my biceps. And yeah, so I think I started it when I went on a trip to BC to visit my sister in June, and like knit the whole thing over the course of a month maybe, and then was like, you know what, part of the problem was that I would have reknit it like a new version because I still had yarn left over, I believe, from the first one, and so I could have just started afresh, but at that point the yarn was like sold out everywhere, and I was like, I want the shirt for me, I don't want to give this one away. It was fun to knit, so I just restarted. I think what happened was I was like, I should just swatch and see like where I went wrong, and what needle size I should have used. And while I was doing the swatch, like, it was just so fun to knit the lace that I was like, whatever, I'll just restart. So I restarted and I reknit this, and now I'm like much happier with the size. And this bra is not ideal. I will say I didn't wear this a ton this summer, and part of the reason was that I just didn't have anything that really went with it, or that I liked it with. But I do really like it with these blue pants, these blue jeans, and I have more of this fabric that I had set aside for a skirt, like maybe a little wrap skirt or something. And so that is what I'm envisioning for this summer. I want to make some kind of skirt that will go with this, that I will like, because I feel like I'm missing like a denim bottom for the summer. So yeah, that's the Dappled lace raglan, and I've got one sweater left, and I need to plug in my computer. Uh-oh. Okay, so my last sweater of 2025. I wish I had steamed it, but it's the Glitch sweater by Low Key Bold Knit, and I had shown this in my last video. I believe I just started, and now it's finished. I guess it took me a little over a month to knit this sweater, which is pretty good for me. Ignore that. I just folded everything up last week and made a pile, so I was ready when I was ready, and now everything's got a big fold down the middle, but that's okay. I knit this sweater in Sandnesgarn Peer Gynt. The light gray is like pretty easy to find, and the blue, as it turns out, is called, or this like periwinkle color. It really like changes depending on the light. Like, it looks very blue in the camera, but to me it looks more like purpley in person. Like, I had someone ask me if this was a blue and green sweater, and I was like, no, it's gray and like periwinkle, but whatever. Yeah, the blue iris I think is discontinued, so sorry about that. What can I say about this? I really love this yarn, but it is so sheepy, which I didn't like notice at first, but I had a friend knitting the same yarn up into a sweater, and I saw them one day and they were like, have you noticed that it smells like poo? I was like, no, I haven't. Then I got home and I like put my face in it, and I was like, oh yeah, it smells like a barn. Which I've like washed this obviously the one time to block it, and it still is quite smelly, I will say. Like, I was sitting in my mom's living room and she was like, what is that smell? And it was me. So it's like the last thing you ever want to hear. But she was like, it's not bad, but it's just like I am noticing it. So I do think I want to rewash this because I've worn it a lot, and one thing I'm noticing is that this is like collapsing a little bit. Like I don't like how the collar, I mean, it's got this really cool like color work edging in the rib, but I don't like that it like is creating that fold kind of in the middle, but it's okay. I've worn this a lot. I like took it home for the holidays with me, and it does fulfill that like sweatshirty sort of feeling that I wanted out of it. I'm pretty happy. I feel like the sleeves could have been a bit longer. Yeah, it's not like a perfect sweater. I guess the fit is like, I don't mind the fit, but I know that this is like a fit that a lot of people don't like. But I feel quite comfortable in it, and like when I'm wearing it, I'm not thinking about like this, you know, like I'm just comfortable. So that's good. And I'm happy with like the ease around the bottom and with the length. But it is quite a low yoke again, so, but I've like worn it, like we went skating and I wore it under my jacket, like it works. So I have no real problem with the fit, but it's like, I wish it maybe was a bit less deep. But again, it's comfy and I like it. And how much battery do we have left? Oh, we're good. We have 8%. So yeah, I really like the wide cuffs also. I wonder if maybe I should lengthen the sleeves. I don't know. I also learned how to do the sewn tubular bind off for 2x2 doing this, which was like so complicated at first. I'm always showing cuffs like this. I found it really hard to wrap my head around at first, and then, you know, as always, like towards the end, I was used to it and had it memorized, but I did find it hard to like figure out my tension, and I was worried that I wouldn't be happy with the edgings, but I think they look fine. So yeah, this was my last sweater, 2025. Oh yeah, and I will say when I went skating and I like sweated in this and was hot, like it was really stinky. So might not wear it for like physical activity necessarily, but I think I'm gonna do another wash and block and see if that improves this. I mean, there's not really anything to be done about the collar like folding in. It's just, yeah, it's just a tall kind of mock neck, which I like in a sweater. So that's that. Oh, and I have one little bonus make for the year, or knit, is my little Labubu sweater. I knit actually 2 Labubu sweaters this year, both in Handspun, using Mackenzie M to the Third's pattern from one of her little Labubu wardrobe collections. And so far I've only made the sweater, and I can put a picture. I think this is my only gift knit of the year, is this little sweater for Amory's Labubu, which also I gifted to her. I like got them, Mackenzie sent them to me from America, because it was hard for me to find them here. So I got me and Amory 2 little, oh, I'll show you. This is my other. This is the one that Mackenzie sent me. This is Love. And this is Sesame Bean. Anyways, these are my Labubus. What? They're so cute. And Love does need a little sweater. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but yeah. That's my last thing. And yeah, I'm hoping in 2026 I might do more gift knits than just the one little Labubu sweater, but I was like, no gift knitting for the holidays this year, and I did mostly sewing and stuff. So Yeah, there were some handmade gifts, but not knitted. So I think that's all I have to say about my 2025 knits. I hope I didn't miss anything, but it's possible. And we're right in time for the computer to die and the sun to start making its way across my desk. So yeah, this year, I mean, I'm hoping, I kind of loosely was like, I hope I can make 6 videos this year. And that's my like little goal. So if you watched, thank you. I hope that all your 2025 knits are serving you well. And as always, I love to hear what you're working on. So please let me know. Here's 2 more fun knits in 2026. I've already finished one thing. So yeah, I want to do more handspun knits. I want to finish. I'm kind of getting like, I don't have that many whips right now, which is really nice. So I'd like to keep my whip count low, or well, it doesn't matter, but I'd like to not be overwhelmed by my whips. And I'm just looking over there because that's where I keep them. And yeah, I don't really make knitting goals necessarily about like number of garments or anything, but I do like to track like things that I'd really like to do. I kind of had an idea of making a video about how I do that, and like kind of, but it's not that interesting or like complicated. But I've just been watching a lot of journaling videos, and I kind of wanted to do like a journaling ecosystem video and then also show you how I track my making. So if you're interested in that, let me know. It's just like something I've been really like fixated on, for lack of a better word. And I think it would be fun to just make that kind of video and try it out. So if you're interested, let me know. Happy New Year. Even though it's the end of January, it's still new. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.